Hello, Las Vegas, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Golf at the Park, Angel Park Golf Club's weekly interview show. Thanks again, liking, subscribing, commenting. We appreciate it. We're doing some fun new guests as of late, and we're really excited about everybody, so keep tuning in every Friday. Today's show, I'm excited to have on Brad Thompson. Brad, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm really, really good. I'm excited because Brad is a golf and fitness trainer, wellness, health. What do you go as for your official title?
Golf fitness professional.
Golf fitness professional. So that's kind of fun for us. We haven't had anybody technically in that field yet. He was introduced to us by Big Matt in Alaska. So it's another one of those fun things where he's a local, born and raised story, and is now made a career in the game of golf. So you're perfect for the show. Let's just start at the beginning. How did you get introduced to the game of golf?
So I started playing golf. My dad introduced me to golf. My dad and my grandpa were the ones that really got me into golf. I started playing probably when I was like 8 or 9, but then I started really taking it seriously when I was about 11, 12.
So 11 or 12, you're actually trying to hit balls and
and I'm actually playing competitively. I played in SNJGA growing up, and so started when I was 11 or 12. And actually,
and here in town.
Yeah,
so
here
why
in
don't
town.
you give us a year range? When were you?
So this was, 99,
Okay.
98, 99.
So your class of 07?
05.
05.
Yep. 05.
Okay.
Yep. And oddly enough, I won my first golf tournament here at Angel Park.
Oh wow!
On the Cloud 9.
That's fun.
Yeah. So it was.
You were your first title. I loved that.
Yeah. So it was great because I kind of was I was kind of a late bloomer in the tournament golf. A lot of the kids that I played against then, I actually still keep in touch with them now, which is awesome. But
it's a tight knit group.
It really is. But they never they all played together since they were 7, 8, 9, and I kind of just came out of nowhere and I won this first tournament, and then ever since then we played a ton of golf together all through middle school, all through high school, and it was really cool.
So how many of those guys are you talking about? Like a handful?
Yeah, 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. Who are some of the guys? What are they doing?
So one, Christian Garcia, he's still here in town. He works for, I can't remember the name of the liquor, but he's
so none of them got into golf though, even though they were all golf competitors.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
That you guys still bond over that.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So take us into high school. That covers kind of junior golf. Take us into high school golf. Where'd you play?
So I went to school at Las Vegas High School at the new campus.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been here for a long time,
I've been here long enough to remember old Las Vegas High. Yes.
So I played golf at the new location. Grew up playing on the east side. So I grew up out there. So
east side.
Yep. Desert Rose now it's a club at Sunrise, but it's always going to be Desert Rose to me.
Of course.
Or the Ditch.
The Ditch was in the 90s. Yep.
Have some great stories.
Well, okay, let's go. We can jump ahead.
Well,
Tell us your favorite story about the Ditch.
Well, just the things that you would see when you're playing golf out there. Everything from the stuff you would find in the ditch to robberies you would see.
Yeah, it was not in a good part of town. Still arguably isn't, but it's gotten better.
It's gotten better.
Yeah.
And I haven't played it since they've named it, rebranded, and all of that. But I hear it's in great shape.
I haven't been out there in 25 years. So I wouldn't be able to tell you. What
I've heard, if you remember the old layout where 10 and 18. So from what I've heard, they've actually flip flopped it. So now 10 is on the same side where 18 used to be, but now it's heading towards Sahara, then 18 is where 10 green used to be.
So they
completely flipped it.
Oh, wow.
I got to get out and play it because
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That had to be pretty expensive, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because they had to build new greens and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
But from what I heard, it's actually pretty.
That's fun. So Vegas High, tell us about your high school career. How was the team? How were you?
So the team, we weren't known for our golf.
Right.
But I did play some pretty good golf while I was out there. I was a decent high school golfer.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, yeah.
We have a lot of guys that are like, yeah, I won state, I was undefeated. Not
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I won regionals.
We weren't those guys.
Yeah, like I won regionals as an individual my sophomore year. Contended at state.
Yeah,
pretty much all 4 years.
That's great.
Yeah, so I had a
So
decent
you played
high
well.
school run. Yeah.
Did you look at college golf?
I did. So I played 2 years of junior college golf.
Where'd you go?
Indian Hills Community College.
Okay.
In Ottumwa, Iowa.
How'd you end up choosing to go there?
I was honestly, after high school, I kind of took a break from golf and then kind of caught the bug again. And I'm like, you know what? I have eligibility. I want to try to find a place to play. So really just kind of tapped into my resources, and they introduced me with the coach out there, and I was like, well, I've never been to Iowa. Let's give this a try.
Wow, that's so.
Couldn't have been any more polar opposite than Vegas.
I was gonna say, so small town.
Well, 20,000.
Yeah.
Which Iowa, that's kind of a big town.
That's a big town.
It had
20,000 is small.
It had 2 stoplights.
Wow.
But it had a Target and it had a Walmart. So like all the surrounding towns, that's where they would go to.
How was the golf course?
The golf course is actually very different from here, obviously. So it was tree lined, and oddly enough, like when I think of the Midwest, I thought it was just like flat as this table. It's actually kind of hilly out there, but the course, it was a great course. So it was Ottumwa Country Club, OCC for sure. But course is probably like 6,400 yards, just super short. But the greens are tiny and they're undulated, so it's like it's one of those like, and they're fast. So it's like, yeah, you could be 4 or 5 feet away from the hole, but if you're on the wrong side of the hole, like it could 3-putt, 4-putt easy.
Little golf courses on the west slope of Colorado are like that.
Mm-hmm.
They seem like they should be really easy because they're short court. They're built on small plots of land.
Yeah.
But those greens, when they're really small, it makes it actually a little bit more difficult.
Exactly. So it's like you could be knocking down pins all day long, but if you're on the wrong side, you're lagging from like 3, 4, 5 feet.
So where were you competing? I mean, what's competition look like in a junior college in the middle of Iowa? Are you guys traveling to tournaments? Where were some of the places you went and got to play?
We didn't travel. We really didn't leave the surrounding states all that often.
Mm-hmm.
But we did nationals was usually in Alabama. The 2 years I was there, it was down at Robert Trent Jones Trail each time. So. But really, we just kind of stayed in the surrounding states. So we go to Illinois, we go to Nebraska.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what ends up happening? Why 2 years?
So I just did my 2 years, and again, like after that, I was just like, okay, got to come back, kind of figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. Yeah. And then I still played golf. Like I still continued to play golf, and I was kind of at the road where I was like, okay, I was starting to improve, getting better.
Now, when you would say you're starting to improve and get better, you were already pretty good. So tell us a little bit about what you mean by at that level improving and getting a little bit better.
Yeah. So when I went and played there, honestly, I played terribly. Like I didn't play well at all. But I was starting to like build some momentum towards the end, and then when I came back, I just continued to grind. Found a job that was, when I came back, that was able to allow me to play golf. Like I worked in the service industry, worked at a restaurant, so I could play golf in the morning, go work in the evening.
Repetition.
And that's what I did. And then I was like, it was tough for me to give it up to where I was like, I want. It's always been a dream to play professional golf, and I was like, well, I got a job that I can kind of swing this. Then it was getting to the point where I was like, all right, probably not going to happen, but I got to figure something out. So that's when kind of through like my old swing coach, Greg LaBelle. So he was at the Harmon School. So I worked with him forever. He was starting a junior golf program that it was kind of like, if you're familiar with like the TPI model, they kind of have they have golf instruction, they have fitness, and they have medical. So it's kind of like all encompassing where it's like, okay, they can get swing instruction, they can get fitness, and then if they get hurt, they have a medical practitioner that they can go to. So he was trying to create that model in his junior golf program. So he's like, hey, like, I know you love to work out, you're a fit guy, like I need someone to run the fitness side. So I'm like, sweet, I can do that. Then so basically went through the certification process, got TPI certified, did all that. And that's kind of how I got introduced into the golf fitness side of things. And then the
So how
chiropractor.
long ago was this?
So this was 12 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, so now the chiropractor, he had his own practice. Then he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna open a gym." That it's so basically the concept was it's you have the gym side of things and you have the medical side of things. So basically, it's a gym where you can go in. They got chiropractors, physical therapists.
Right.
Um,
Golf Mommy was on
mhm,
a couple weeks ago, and she's setting up one in downtown Summerlin
mhm.
that is the same idea, where she wants to have, medical and physical
Yep.
and even I think they've got massage tables
Yeah.
and all sorts of things. So that's the same concept. You
Yep.
guys
Same
just been doing
concept.
it for 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so you started working more with golf that way, or
I
or
honestly, I
was
started.
golf just a small part of it?
Well, no. So actually, that's working with golfers is really all that I've done. So I kind of started with that, and that's really like, even though I've worked with a few other people that were non-golfers, like, I mean, right now I'm working with exclusively golfers. And even back then when I was first starting, like everyone that I worked with were golfers because
Wow.
that's kind of how like that was my network. Like everyone that I knew were golfers, and like, hey, like so basically Greg Lavelle, every time he would have someone like, hey, like this person's struggling with this in their golf swing, I can't figure out, I don't know what it is, they would send them to me. I would assess them and I would kind of figure out like, okay, reason why this person sways on their backswing is their right hip is jacked up. So that's where I would come in, do my thing, get loosen that hip up, and then it's like, oh, now they can turn, and
Oh,
now they're
wow.
able to do what they want to do in their golf swing. So yeah.
That's a great example. So that's the type of stuff that you've been doing for 12 years
Uh huh.
now.
Uh huh.
And so has that helped your game? Have you gotten
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I mean, I've
Yeah,
got
let's
kids.
take us back to your game, because you were
Yeah.
just starting to get good, you
Yep.
said.
Yep.
But then you had to take a
Yeah.
turn when
Uh-huh.
when work became maybe more encompassing.
Yeah, so I kind of put golf on the back burner. Golf's kind of been on the back burner for a long time.
Yeah.
So I mean, got started the career, got a family now, so kids will definitely keep you from playing as much golf as you like.
How old are your kids?
7 and 2.
So is the 7-year-old had a stick yet?
Yes, she likes to dabble in it.
Yeah.
But not anything that she wants to take seriously at this point. There's a lot of hope in the 2-year-old. The 2-year-old, she will take anything that looks like a golf club and anything that's a ball, and she will just start hitting it.
That's
so
fun.
I'm fingers crossed with that one.
It's fun when they like it, because
Uh-huh.
that's the golf dad curse, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, you don't want to push it on
Uh-huh.
a child that doesn't have an interest in it, but if they have an interest in it, you
Mhm.
really want to.
Exactly. And
It's let's go time. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's fun.
Yep.
So again, how do you work on your game now?
Mm-hmm.
Is it if it's on the back burner? How frequently do you play recreationally?
Yeah. I try to get out to the driving range about once a week. And then I've got a little setup at the house. So I'm always hitting golf balls. Like I always try to keep the rust off that way. But it's going and hitting golf balls on the driving range compared to going on the golf course. I mean,
And yeah, that's a big difference.
Mhm.
And if you're just going out there and not really, if one night a week isn't necessarily what you would be working on things, you're
Yeah.
clearing your mind more. So,
Yeah.
right? It almost
Mhm,
sounds like
mhm.
these days. So tell me about what that hour of hitting balls now is in difference to when you were hitting out balls for an hour where you're thinking about a lot of things. Are
Yeah.
you trying to do the opposite?
So now I kind of have it to where I know some things that I need to work on. Like if I focus on these things, like I can hit the ball pretty well. So really I really just focus on that. And I'm not trying to get too like I'm not really focused on, oh, let's hit different shots and this. Like I'm trying to just hit a consistent shot
Yeah.
that I can just get out there. That I know I know what it's gonna do every
Right.
time. Not trying to get as fancy as I used to.
Yeah. Well, that comes with age, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some of your goals? I mean, let's talk about, put it this way. Have you been competitive most of your life?
I have at least like the
And
early
how
part of my
competitive?
life.
Because it would seem like you don't have the competition in your life anymore. And I was
Yeah.
just curious if you used to be really competitive, how you deal with that, or how that feels. not having that.
Just like competition in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Do you get it out in other ways?
I'm like in general, I'm not a like super competitive person, but there are certain things that bring the competitiveness out of me.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty laid back, easygoing guy, but there are some things that really do bring the competition out of me. Golf is one of them.
Yeah.
And it's something that I definitely have to try to not let it consume me, because there's been times where I just even like go hit balls on the driving range and I'm just like, I hit it terribly. So I'm like, okay, got to go pick my daughter up from school, come back home. Okay, the youngest is sleeping. I got a little bit of time.
When it starts affecting your mood. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, then I go in the backyard and I try to grind it out, and then like I don't. And like you said, like I can let it consume me and piss me off.
What I tell everybody, because I didn't play for so long, and even when I was playing rarely, I would get frustrated because I would say to myself, "Oh, if I just practiced more, I'd be better and I wouldn't be embarrassed right now." And then I would immediately say to myself, "You have no interest in practicing more. So what are you doing?"
Exactly.
Golf can get in your head. The fitness side of it. So do you have routines now that you teach for like pre golf routine or pre warm up routine? That's a full thing, right?
Absolutely. So I have a YouTube video that I basically send out to people who are interested, or if they ask me like, "Hey,
now, is it your YouTube channel or is it just something?
It's mine. Yeah.
So we'll have all of that in the description.
Yep.
So we can get to your stuff.
And really, like, it's huge. Like, honestly, I think that's one of the biggest things that golfers could do better, is that most golfers, what they do is they go to the driver range and they use the driver range to warm them up, where if they were just warm when they got to the driver range to begin with, like, they don't need to take 20, 30 balls to actually get warmed up. They're already warm, and now it's just like, okay, let's find a feel for the day. Let's see what I'm doing, and then go. And then you can cut that warm-up time, like, on the driving range. You can cut it down in half.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And is it mostly stretching?
It's just like active mobility stuff that you can do on the driving range.
Yeah.
So like in the golf fitness space, you get a lot of people who they didn't play golf growing up. Like, they were mainly just like fitness people that kind of got into golf. So what you'll find is they'll like, okay, I've got this cool like warm up routine, and they bring a whole freaking gym out there with them, and with bands and like weights, and I'm like,
and you can tell they're not golfers.
Yeah, it's like, it looks cool.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I look at the regular golfers, like, they're not doing that. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna give them where it's like they only need a club. And it's like, you can do these things,
and
if
you can do these with a golf club.
You can do it like literally, like, you don't need a lot of space. Like, if you're on a mat, you can just literally just stand on the mat that you're on and do this. And it takes 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. And then after you're done, you're good.
That's fascinating.
And you don't need this whole warm-up routine where you got to cart out equipment.
And that's cool. You and I were having this conversation before we shot about the difference between purists and new golf, and the fact that you even just said the phrase, well, here's the thing about the golf fitness space.
Yeah,
that space never existed, right?
Exactly,
I mean,
exactly.
Golf and fitness, I know Tiger was the first one that really started working out. But I guess Gary Player probably was the OG of that. But yeah, fitness and golf, especially put together the way you're doing it, that's new, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been around for 20-ish years, but the industry has really taken off probably in the last 10, like really taken off. And then COVID accelerated that even more,
right?
Like, along with a lot of things. So yeah, it's still the wild, wild west. It really is. And it's interesting. Like, there's a lot of really good people out there that do some great things, but then there's still some people doing things that are just like, it looks cool, but it's like,
might not be as optimal as what they're.
And what's crazy is you'll see this at the highest level, like PGA Tour pros. You'll see them do some things, and it's like, it looks great, but it's like, when you start to peel back the layers of it, it's like, it's not really doing much, or it's not doing what you think it's doing.
So when you deconstruct the different examples of exercises, for lack of a better phrase, you can break down which ones are actually working and which ones aren't.
Yeah, and
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and when you go back to the whole like purist versus like, I like a lot of times I feel like the old grumpy man, like, like
get off my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, so I've been like exercising. Well, I've been lifting weights since like my freshman year of high school. Started there and weight training through high school, and then really have been lifting weights since then. So I've been doing it for most of my life, and I've dug into like, well, I've seen a lot of different systems, a lot of different ways to lift weights, and it really, like, if you look at what works, it's usually very basic things, and it's like you do the basics, you do them consistently for a long time, and just do a little bit more every time you go in. If you can do that, you're gonna be good.
Right.
It's kind of like the same with golf. It's like if you focus on the fundamentals and you do them consistently for a long enough period of time,
Yep.
you're gonna get better.
Right.
So that's kind of how I view golf. It's like, yes, there's a lot of different things you can do, but it's like, what should you do?
Yeah. No, that's fascinating.
Uh-huh.
And so break down your weightlifting career. I mean, and that is what it is, right? It's not professional, but
Yeah,
you've been lifting weights so long, it's part of your identity.
Yeah.
How does that compare to the golf swing? How do you equate or use parallels between weightlifting and golf?
Well, so there's honestly a ton of parallels.
I kind of figured, and I've never heard of any. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I did just like, so consistency over time. Those are like two main parallels to fitness. So fitness, a lot of people start fitness programs, but they never keep doing them. So I hear it all the time, like, well, I started this.
Yeah,
I did
P90X,
yeah.
I think was P38X
Yeah.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So they start, but they never,
Right.
well, you never finish. It's just the goal is to keep going. It's like just like golf. Like you never conquer golf.
Right.
You're never gonna win. Like you're never gonna defeat golf. Like unless you shoot 18, which still when no one's gonna shoot 18.
Yeah.
So you can never. So you're never gonna conquer.
It's unbeatable,
golf.
right?
It's unbeatable. But the goal is you want to continue to play, and you want to just continue to get better. Same with fitness. Like it's just showing up and just continuing to improve every time. And a lot of times it's not necessarily like trying to get as big or strong as possible. It's just for a lot of people, it's like, hey, they're in pain or they want more energy, and when they exercise, they feel better. So if you continue to exercise, it's like, hey, the energy's better. Then that trickles over into all aspects of your life.
Well, I was going to say, it works for weightlifting, it works for golf, it works for life.
It works
right?
for
Just
life,
show
exactly,
up.
exactly.
Just show up and put the time in.
Yeah, and then even to like when we're talking about the fundamentals, like if you can just really nail down fundamentals, like so even like going back to like, okay, in golf you have your grip, your setup, your posture, you have all of that. Same with exercise, you kind of have those same things. Like if you're like bench pressing, you have grip, you have setup, you have posture. So it's like all of those, like when you do a bench press or any exercise, if you have a good grip, setup, posture, and you're able to maintain that while you're exercising, you're going to be able to get the benefits of the exercise without getting the downside of the exercise, which is getting hurt.
Right.
Which a lot of people do get hurt. And really it comes down to they do it with poor form, or they're doing too much load too quickly. Something. It's usually one of those two things.
So yeah, and that's why you'd need a guide, right? Like
somebody, exactly.
Somebody professionally to help do this for you. Let's get it back to golf a little bit then. What do you have a favorite like memory of like being on the golf course? Like what or one thing that you think about more often than others?
Yeah. So so a lot of my practices that I do is actually out of Desert Willow, so my gym where I train out of is right around the corner from Desert Willow.
Right.
Desert Willow is right between where I work and where my daughter's school is at.
Oh,
so it's
perfect.
like it's super convenient. So one of my favorite memories is, so I played it was a grandpa-grandson tournament out of Desert Willow, and it was me and my grandpa. So we ended up winning, and so
how old were you?
I think I was 11 or 12. I was young.
Yeah.
I was young. So we went out and played, and we won, because my grandpa made like a 6-foot putt on the last hole.
How amazing!
And well, no, so the memory that sticks out in my mind. So it was the putt that he hit. If this putt didn't hit the hole, it's going 20 feet by. Like it literally hit the back of the hole, popped up 4 inches, dropped into the hole. So.
Hey, credit to Grandpa.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to leave it short.
He wasn't leaving it short. So every time I walk by, like I just look over there and I see the 18th hole, and it just always it always like puts a smile on my face. And
That's awesome.
yeah, he passed away. I think it's about 12, 15 years ago now.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sorry. He's
my grandfather on my father's side that taught me golf. That was a tough one when we lost him. So
yeah.
hopefully that wasn't too hard on you. But I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And then, well, sorry.
Yeah,
then I got another one.
I love that. Let's go.
So I made it my sophomore year of high school. I made it through local qualifying for the U.S. Open qualifier. It was at Legacy.
I was going to say, in those days,
yep.
it was a Legacy. I
And
caddied
Legacy,
a few different loops out there. Congratulations.
Thank you. So made it to a playoff. So I shot 70 that day, 70 or 71. It got me into it was like a 12-man playoff for 3 or 4 spots, something like that. So first hole, and I played 3 really good holes.
Are you playing 1, 2, and 3 at Legacy?
1, 2, and 3. Yep,
okay.
Yep. So I had about a 5-foot putt on the first hole for birdie, missed it. Hit a great shot on 2.
That's the hardest shot.
That's the hardest.
3.
Out
of the 3 holes.
And the pin was, I think it was like back right, front right. It was front right or back right, and it was on the right.
Back right is a tough pin. So that's
I was above the hole.
Was.
Yeah, I was above the hole. I had a 6-footer above the hole. That it was slippery.
And you missed that one too?
Missed that one. So come down to the third hole. So it was me and just one other guy. I can't remember the name. He used to play on UNLV at the time. I can't remember. I'm terrible with names. But so hit great drive, hit a great shot, hit it to like 5 feet. So I was dialed in for this playoff.
Yeah.
I just couldn't make the putts. But that shot that I hit, the approach shot, I just remember like I couldn't have hit it any better. Like it was just like I pured it. It came off, did exactly what I kind of envisioned. And then the guy who I was playing against, he hit it to the right side of the green and lipped the putt out. Like so, when I saw that, my heart just like but he hit it about like 7 or 8 feet by and then missed the putt. And then I was able to make the putt finally, and then that got me into the next stage, which that was awesome.
That's a pretty great memory. Tell us a little bit about the trip. So where'd you go to stage 2?
So stage 2 is El Caballero Country Club in Tarzana,
okay,
California, which it's I believe it's like Hollywood Hills area.
Did you drive or fly?
Drove.
Tell me about that car ride. Tell me about how you were feeling.
Honestly, I don't remember the car ride all that much, to be honest. But so this was my first time ever going to like a LA area country club, like a super exclusive country club. And I didn't realize how like exclusive this place was until I got there, and it was like, I thought it was like a Mercedes-Benz dealership. Like you get there and it's like literally just all you see is like Benz, like you just see like European cars, like brand new like BMWs, Mercedes, and I was just like, oh man.
Yeah.
And then my dad, like he drove a big F-350, long bed. We get in.
Pull it in
there,
like
yeah, diesel, by the way. But it was just like, all right, we're pulling into this.
That's so fun.
And then we're just like, all right, I just remember like, all right, this is different.
Right.
The course is phenomenal. So very like it was a very short course, very tree lined, very hilly because it was up in the hills. So kind of similar to what we're talking about, like playing golf, like where you said in like you said east side of Colorado,
or west side,
west side Colorado. But small greens, target golf, a lot of dog legs. So you got to shape the ball. It's very different than out here.
Right.
But honestly, I love that type of golf because it kind of when you play golf course where it's just kind of wide open, like there's a lot of ways that you can hit it.
So once you got on the golf course, you were actually a little more comfortable than I would have assumed.
Yeah.
You felt pretty good.
It was I felt good.
So you had to have a good time then.
I had a great time.
Regardless of how well
I had
you
a great
did.
time. So the course was great. I had a lot of fun. I didn't play well. To get through
you'd have to career it.
You got to career it. And it's 36 holes in one day. Like, and that was a hilly course. So it was a tough course to walk. So one of my favorite memories. So Mac O'Grady, he was playing in that same.
Try to get in.
Yep. So I remember.
That's one of the best things about the qualifiers is that there are dudes who are so good.
So this was 03. And Mac O'Grady was there, and I remember I was hitting balls next to him, and I didn't quite know who Mac O'Grady was
right
then, so I didn't I knew who he was after the fact, but I didn't quite get to like really embrace and like
How cool it was.
how cool it was.
Yeah.
But he was talking about this was the last year he was going to play right-handed. Next year he was going to switch to lefty, and he was going to try to be the first person to play in a U.S. Open right-handed and left-handed. But if you ever seen him hit balls right, well, I mean, obviously right-handed legend, left-handed, like he swings it almost as good as he does right-handed.
That's wild.
And it was just, it was amazing.
Well, that's
It
fun.
was
I'm
a
glad
really
you got to
cool.
enjoy that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you've got a lifetime in golf now?
Mm-hmm.
What are the things that you haven't liked about it, or that you've wished you could change in golf, or things that pet peeves? Do you have anything like that with golf? Because it's hard to have negative thoughts, but then when you think about it, most people do.
Yeah, nothing's perfect. I mean, that's a great question. Pet peeves.
I mean, it could be
Ooh,
something as
yeah.
slow play. I mean,
Oh,
there's
okay.
all sorts of. There's easy ways to go. You don't have to attack
Okay,
the
yeah,
establishment.
no, no,
Although,
no.
although I'm never shy about doing that.
So I think the USGA is doing. There's definitely a lot of things that they could do better, and I think a lot of the things that they have done isn't great. I don't know. I think there's just better things that they can do to kind of help grow the game.
Yeah, like what are your ideas? Because I think those are the voices we need to hear from.
Well, even just like, so the simple thing is like, okay, if someone hits a great drive down the middle of the fairway and they're in a divot and they don't get relief from that, like, I can kind of see like the purist, like you'd be like, I don't technically agree with that, but so if you're allowed to fix spike marks,
Yep.
why not allow someone to move the ball over out of the divot?
Right. No, I think these conversations are fascinating because they're easy to, again, it's the purist new golf, and there's times 100% that the tradition is so good you don't want to touch it, but then there are other times that what is the evolution of the game, what's best for the game, and everyone's going to disagree on that.
Yeah.
Especially
100%.
Especially purists.
Yes. Or another thing, so the whole distance debacle, we're trying to roll the ball back,
Right.
I don't think someone should be and again, like, the golf technology has gotten really good in the last decade.
Sure.
It's gotten really good. But what I don't get is, like, okay, if someone goes, like Jordan Spieth, for instance, when he's playing his best golf, the man makes every putt on the green. Like, he doesn't miss. He won, like, if it's on the green, he's one putting. Are they going to start thinking, like, oh, maybe we should start shrinking the size of the hole because guys are starting to make a lot of putts?
Right.
They're not going to do that. So I don't think necessarily, like, yes, technology does play a big role in this, but golfers are also very different than they were even 10 years ago. They're a lot more fit. They're taking their fitness a lot more seriously.
Yep.
So they're different golfers. So I don't think they should necessarily be penalized for that by being really good at, like, an aspect of the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, it's a purist thing, right? And soccer is the most pure, but golf is arguably the second, and it's one of those things where a purist is going to tell you that you shouldn't even be able to beat the golf course, right?
Yeah.
The best players in the world in a perfect world would win majors at 1 under, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way a golf purist wants the game.
I love
played.
seeing majors play that way,
and that's fun.
Yeah.
But it's not very inclusive at all.
Not at all.
And, Random Golf Club comes up all the time. I want to shout them out because they've found a way to keep the spirit of both. Play the ball as it lies.
Yep.
And even if you're a beginner, and we're going to come out and we're going to teach you, but that's rule number 1, laugh at your own shots. And rule number 2, play it as it lies. And I just think that is... Yeah, that's the line that I'm always trying to talk about on this show because it's interesting stuff. All right, easy question. What's your favorite thing about golf? And maybe not so easy.
The big thing I love about golf is that it's individual and it's all on you. So you can't necessarily, I mean, yes, there are team aspects, but you can't, at the end of the day, it comes down to you.
We've had at least 3, answers word for word, just like you had. So I mean, that's a common theme. People that love the game.
Yeah,
because it's just
all on you. You can't really blame anyone or anything, because when you're playing golf, like, yeah, you can blame the conditions, but everybody else is playing in the same conditions. You can blame the greens, everyone else is playing on the same greens. So you have to find a way to navigate it and work around it. And that's kind of life.
Yeah. Yep. It really is. There's parallels throughout the game to life, and those are important to talk about too, because they're almost always the most beneficial. And and your biggest flaws, arguably too, right?
Yes.
Yes. Golf is a mirror.
100%.
Let's talk about golf consumption then. So how much golf do you watch? Are you do you have YouTube viewing habits, or I mean, like, everybody consumes golf differently these days.
Yep. So I do. I try to watch as much golf as I can. And again, at home, it's tough when you got young kids, and I try not to have too many TVs now. Right. And especially my youngest daughter, she loves Bluey. That's all she wants to watch. I mean, side note, that's actually a hilarious show. I don't know if you ever watched it. But anyway, so I try to watch as much golf as I can. But also when I'm, like, even on the drive here, I was listening to a golf podcast, and I love listening to, like, I love golf. Like, it's one of, like, I'm not good at a lot of things in life, and I don't have a lot of, like, interest in life, but, like, golf is definitely, like, one of my, like, main interests.
That's so interesting. Golf becomes all consuming to so many people that it's a special thing, right?
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit before we go about your clubs. What are you playing? What do you prefer? Do you play with what you're playing? Are you solid to a certain set?
Yeah.
Tell us about your clubs.
So I do love Titleist. I think they do make great clubs, but I also play Titleist because TPI Dubs gives a really good discount. So there's that. But no, I do love Titleist equipment. Like, I think they do make some great equipment, but there's a lot of really good equipment out there, even outside of the big manufacturers, which that's another great thing about golf is, like, there's a lot of these other manufacturers coming out that are just making some, like, great
quality
equipment, some quality equipment. But so I am as of now, I'm very loyal to Titleist.
Yeah, that's great.
So wedges, I have.
We see you, Titleist.
Yeah. So I do have SM7 wedges. So I have 4 wedges.
Yep.
So I have 712 MBs, which I'm having a hard time getting rid of, because they look great, they feel great, they do what I want them to do.
So you might not be looking to change.
Might not be getting rid of change.
It's got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a good feeling.
Yeah, and I don't play enough golf to justify.
Right.
Like, I always go on, like, the website, and I just look and I'm like, all right, well, I can order some clubs, but then I'm just like, do I even play enough golf to even? So. Yeah, I always stick with what I got, but
the constant battle of
battle. There's been many times where I've had clubs in the cart, and then I'm just like have everything filled out, like ready to go, and then I'm just like,
and then, don't check the box,
delete the cart. Yep. Then so for a driving iron, I have a U510 driving iron, which it's great club.
Those aren't easy to hit.
Very easy to hit.
They are?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, great. It's a great club. Then I have a TS3 3-wood. Then I have a TSI driver. And the putter is, I actually just switched. This is the only non-Titleist club on my bag. But so with the whole Jailbird, was it the Jailbird? Yeah, the Jailbird. Yep. Odyssey putter, seeing guys just win and with that putter. So I switched to the Bird 7 Odyssey putter with the OG White Hot insert.
And you like it?
Love it. Feels so, like, with putters, I love that soft feel putter, like the insert feel, and I love the White Hot feel. Feels great. Looks great, and it's a great putter. And I've used to give you context, like, I've used blade putters pretty much my whole life. I had the Yes Cali in my bag forever.
Yeah, I putted with an old Yes putter.
Yeah. They're great. Yeah, like, I still love it. But yeah, I just wanted to try it out, and I tried it out, and I was like, all right, I can see what the fuss is about. Like, this is a great putter, and it's very stable. Like, even off center hits, like they still take off straight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Oh.
All right, Brad. I think that's going to end the first segment of the show. Thanks again for coming in. That's going to be our par 5, where we ask the same 5 questions to each guest every week. Brad has been given at least one in advance because it's a little hard to answer on the spot. Are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Question number 1. First shot is going to be, what's your favorite golf movie?
It's a tie between Caddyshack and Happy Gilmore.
Good answer.
Yeah, it's like asking you who your favorite kid is.
Those are the 2 answers we get the most, is Caddyshack and Happy Gilmore.
I like them equally for different reasons.
Right.
Like Happy Gilmore is very in your face, and it's typical like Adam Sandler.
Right.
But Caddyshack, it's nuanced. Like, every time I watch it, I pick up on new jokes, and I'm like, holy crap, how did I forget? Like, how did I not pick up on?
Yeah, all those Harvard writers, they were so good, and yeah, there are jokes on jokes, and then you're laughing, and you laugh through a joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a tie. Like, I can't. It's a tie.
I like that one. Question number 2: what's your favorite club in your bag and why?
Ooh.
Is it an Odyssey putter now?
No. I like the driver, even though it's one of those things. When I'm driving it well, I can play really good golf. But if I am driving it bad, it's really hard to play good golf.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Like, I don't think there's not too many things better than just like striping a drive down the middle of the fairway.
Yeah.
To me, I like that. Just feels phenomenal. So I don't know, I'll say the driver.
No, that was my old man's answer was the driver, and he said because it just gives him more confidence when he hits the first one good.
Yep.
It makes the rest of the hole always easier.
Yeah.
So that's a fun answer. My favorite question, shot number 3. What's your dream foursome? So I'm going to give you any 3 people to go play a round of golf with, alive or dead. Who are you going to pick?
So alive, definitely have to be Tiger Woods. And if I had to pick, I would want to pick like 2000 Tiger.
Oh, see, we had Jimmy Tropicana
Yeah.
drop years on each of his playing partners, and I thought that was great. So yes,
Yeah, 'cause I don't-
2000 Tiger is a great answer.
So growing up, like, that was the time when I was like really getting into golf, and I watched a lot of golf, and like watching Tiger during that time, like, there's just nothing like it. I think it was the best golf that's ever been played, and we'll probably ever see.
He changed the game, and it wasn't any different, honestly, than Michael Jordan. It was as impactful and big and crazy that it happened in golf.
Yeah.
Tiger was Tiger is golf.
Yeah, he really is.
All right.
Number 2 would probably have to be Ben Hogan. Because again, it's like I didn't get to see a lot of it, but I know some people that got to watch him play.
Yeah.
And
another Mount Rushmore guy.
Yep. And they all said he was as good of a ball striker as the legends have him to be.
Yep.
So I would just love to just see that. Ooh, the third one. That's I don't want to rush just to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, make it count.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm gonna say Rory McIlroy.
Oh, okay. So you're going all 3 golfers.
Yeah, I'll go all 3 golfers.
Who are you choosing between Rory and who?
Ooh. There's a lot of people running through my
schooler guys.
Yeah. A lot of people, and even too, like, playing, like.
Do you have any?
Oh, actually, so a fun one would be like Fat Perez. Like, if we're going new school, like someone like that, which I think he's amazing because he's the most unassuming guy. But then you watch him play, the dude can play.
So the Golf Fathers are local guys that work with Bob Does Sports, and yeah, we Joey Coldcuts has been out, but Fat Perez hasn't come up on the show yet, I don't think. So that's fun. That's
big guy every time he does the Euro step.
Him. Yeah, no,
it's amazing.
They're great. They're so fun.
Yeah, that might have to be my 3.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you? So you were in junior high when Tiger was okay.
Yeah.
So were you trying to model your swing after him, or were you
Um,
still just working on fundamentals?
so I was still working. So I had a swing coach, and I was trying to work on the stuff that he was having me do. But there were like, so for instance, Tiger. That was like prime when Tiger was hitting the stinger. So of course you got to go out there and try
Yeah,
to
try
rip
to
those
hit that.
stingers like how he was. But I did try to. So and he was also, even though Mickelson back then was hitting the flop shots, like Tiger hit some nasty flop shots
Yep.
back then. So I would say like a lot of like the shots he would try to hit, I would try to pull off, because even too back then he was hitting these, like he was hitting massive hooks, massive slices around trees, and he was just hitting just insane shots. I would try to hit the shots and not necessarily try to model his swing per
Yeah.
se. But I'm sure I was trying to probably certain aspects
Yeah.
trying to.
Question number 4, shot 4, is interesting because you probably don't play a lot of golf. You were saying you spend more time on the driving range now than anything, but on the golf course, do you have an aiming fluid? So what are you drinking when you're out on the golf course?
Yeah, I honestly I drink. I'm kind of boring. Like I don't.
Yeah, no, we get as much water and
Yeah.
iced tea as we do
Yeah.
alcohol.
I don't drink alcohol on the course. Honestly, so this is the competitiveness in me. Like when I'm playing, like I don't. I even though I don't play like competitively anymore, when I'm out trying to play, I still try to play the
You
best.
want to be at your best.
I want to be at my best. And if I'm drinking on the course, like I don't play my best.
And that's the interesting dynamic
Yeah.
about golf and alcohol,
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
right? I mean, it's still easy to have the conversation,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of people that believe, and it's arguably been proven,
Uh-huh.
that after a couple of drinks,
Yeah.
if you can keep it at a couple, it actually makes some players better.
Yeah.
Right? So there is a dichotomy.
Uh-huh.
And then there's also just the aspect of having fun,
Yeah.
right? And so there's a lot of different answers.
You're-
But being in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
water is obviously what we need to be drinking out
Yeah,
there.
so I drink like liquid IV or like Gatorade Zero or something like that. That's my drink of choice. But are you familiar with the Monty Money course record when he shot the course record at Las Vegas or at Muni?
No, what did he
So
shoot?
legend has it he drank a beer a hole and shot. I think he shot 59 or something like that.
Yeah.
59 or 58. And I think the course record just recently got broken. But legend has it he was drinking a beer a hole. And again, legend, I don't know how true it was, but like by the 18th hole, he had the putt to shoot 59, whatever he shot. Like he was just like standing over it, wobbling, and then he just slaps it in and made the putt.
Yeah, my dad told a story on this show about the Greater Milwaukee Open one year. A guy
Oh.
that was sitting in the clubhouse at 10:30 in the morning, going into the final round, 4 shots back, was drinking gin and tonics. And everyone was congratulating the guy that was 4 up, and he drank gin and tonics the whole round, and he won the tournament. I
Yeah.
can't remember the guy's
Yeah.
name, but there are outliers, right?
Well, Joel Damon during the
White
full
Claws
swing.
at the turn. I mean, so again, some people wonder why the questions. Those are exactly the reasons why the
Yeah,
question is what it is.
But
And, oh yeah,
I'm on the other side where I don't play well if I'm drinking on the course.
and yeah, I've been impressed by those people that are non-drinkers. They're not even Gatorade. I
Yeah.
mean, we've had the answer, no Gatorade, too much sugar, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that doesn't. Gatorade feels sugar-free to me,
Yeah,
even with
yeah.
the sugar in it.
Mhm,
But yeah, I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Question number 5, another odd question, if it's embarrassing. So we want you to try to answer honestly, and maybe that won't be easy. Have you ever been? How do you deal with your anger on the golf course? Have you ever been a club thrower, or have you snapped a club in the past?
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an angry person, but golf brings that out of you.
You have to learn to deal with it.
And you got to learn how to get it out. Like, and some people get it out different ways. I've thrown clubs. I've broken clubs. I'm not proud of it, but
No,
it just
you're
it
miserable
happens.
as soon as you do it.
But I've also slammed clubs in my bag, and as any golfer knows, if you slam it and you get your finger caught between the two clubs,
Hurts.
or you slam a club, you miss, and you catch yourself around the ankle bone. Like,
Yep, that's been
and you're
told.
like you're an idiot. Why are you doing that? You're not that good. you don't need to get. But no, I've thrown clubs. I've broken clubs. I've never like snapped it over my knee or like over my back or anything
Right.
like that. But I've definitely thrown
Yeah.
clubs.
Yeah, everyone's embarrassed and ashamed
Yeah.
of that.
So,
One of the things that's come up that I need to just start tacking on to the end of this question is, what are some of the encouraging things you say to yourself after a bad shot? Because I'm noticing that a lot of people after a bad shot have really been focusing on, hey, just remember to hit the next shot, or
yeah.
just remember middles, or just
Yeah.
remember, and it's more positive reinforcement
Mm-hmm.
instead of anger, which
Yeah.
probably helps you get rid of it faster
For
too,
sure.
right? Do you have anything like that?
Yeah. So I tend to tell myself, like, whenever I hit a bad shot, it's like, okay, that's not like you. Like, you hit good shots. Like, you're a good golfer, you hit good shots. So it's like whenever I hit a bad shot, it's like, that's weird. Like, that's
Yeah.
not like you. And that's usually that's the best way for me to like get over that anger quickly and kind of refocus onto the next shot. Um, yeah, I just try to like tell myself, like, I know I'm a good golfer and I can hit good shots. So it's like whenever I hit a bad shot, it's like, yeah, it sucks. And like, it does kind of piss you off like initially, but then it's like like you don't hit shots like that. Like,
Right.
if you were to like look at all the golf shots you hit, like, that's going to be the outlier. So like, okay, that's weird. Like, okay, now what do you got to do to fix that?
Yeah.
And then just make sure you don't do it again.
Love it.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Brad, thank you again for coming
I
on,
appreciate
man.
it. This is
Really
great.
appreciate it. Did you have fun?
Yeah. Oh, I had a blast.
Awesome.
This is
That's
great.
that's good times. We will see you next week. Thank you again. Until next time, hit them straight from your friends at Angel Park Golf Club. Cheers.